Hey guys, this is another video in the full profitability series for Jet Lightning Jet. So just kind of wanted to put other sort of data points in the context, right? So as you look at the Jet Monitor status, okay, how to prioritize some of the issues that are sort of that we're seeing here. Like first of all, there is a recommendation about the Howlett, right? Johnson's node. Okay, bump the fees and like a bunch of really other recommendations, right? So um, there's one way is to go ahead and update the fees, the local fees to say the upper end of the value, for example, 644 on all of them. So that's kind of one way to approach it. That's more kind of sort of like a shotgun approach, right? So another way is to make it data driven, right? So one tool we could use is Jetpears, right? So Jetpears is going to show us what's actually going on with our inbound and outbound peers, right, in terms of liquidity, right? So, and what we can see here is that, so for example, BCash is a pretty good outbound node, right, but it does not have enough liquidity on the outbound side, right? So clearly there is an issue, right? Clearly there is not enough of rebalancing from the inbound peers, right, from these guys, from Gandolin, LNTME, and D++, into Bcash, right? So it's kind of really an issue. So we can go back here. So Bcash, well, really, so the problem with Bcash is that it's it has a pretty low max ppm, right, of 175, right? So if you think about rebalancing into Bcash, right, even though the remote fee is pretty low, right, which is 2, but it just may not leave enough of a room to rebalance into Bcash because there's going to be other peers in the route that will consume sats, right? So the recommendation is basically at the moment is to have at least 200 sats difference, delta between a local and remote, the more the better, and clearly with Bcash it's just not sufficient. So one other important data point to look at is Jet htlc-analyzer, right? What it's going to do, it's going to look at the missed HTLCs due to not having enough liquidity and print out a sorted list, right? So what we can see here, what's really interesting, by the way, is that, so CoinGate, which is currently an inbound peer, right, is actually missing on a bunch of sats as an outbound peer, right? So which basically means that CoinGate does not have enough liquidity on the local side, which is again totally okay because CoinGate is an outbound peer. But so this is something, again, it's a data point that Jet will take into account in the future, is that it may actually start sending a little bit of routing towards, a little bit of rebalancing towards CoinGate, right? So that we're not going to be missing on so many sats, right? So over the past 24 hours, we technically could have routed 245 million sats through CoinGate if it had enough liquidity. But what's also interesting is that Bcash, so we could have routed 68, almost 69 million sats through CoinGate, which is 11% of the total sats that were missed across all of the peers, if Bcash had enough liquidity. So clearly there is a problem with Bcash, as we noticed in the Jetpears, as well as in the Jet htlc-analyzer. So now, as we are armed with this data, we can go back to the status, okay, and clearly that 175 is enough. So my action right now would be to change 175 to bump it to, for example, 275 or something like 325. Give it a good solid buffer of at least 200 sats, maybe even 300 sats, and then hopefully Bcash will get more of automated rebalancing that was done successfully.